Are you waiting to build something big? That's the biggest mistake most people make. We refused to wait, we're in our 20s, and we built a home improvement company past $10 million. Not because we knew everything, but because we were desperate enough to figure it out along the way. If you don't want to waste decades playing it safe, and if you're ready to build success earlier and live stories worth telling and stay ahead of the curve, subscribe now. Let's get into the episode.
Today's guest is Evan Dippin, former AE landscape border sales rep, stealth photography junkie, and a living proof that value comes from skills you build, not the jobs you take. He's here to talk about how mastering high-income skills transformed his life and unlocked a whole new path forward. Let's get into it. Squirted me in the eye, I think.
I know, me too. How learning a high-income skill can change your life forever. Now, I mean, I don't want to brag, but we're kind of a group of high-skilled individuals. I mean, obviously we have a CEO, manager, and Grant Cardone over here. I guess, Dippin, how?
What is it that you do? What is it that you do?
Let's do that.
So right now I'm a sales rep for Polypro 4 Coatings, but originally came from AE Landscape Borders. So you want me to go in depth into what?
So you pretty much go into the home in a warm preset lead. You know, you pretty much are going to build a rapport. You're going to give people a proposal and then ultimately give them a price to try and earn their business while you're there, correct?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Very good communicator.
I would say so.
You feel like your skills have kind of sharpened? And I mean, what's changed in your life from learning that skill?
I feel like a couple of skills have definitely sharpened after being here. One that Parker usually hits on a lot is accountability. I feel like something, probably the biggest thing I've learned. I feel like that's a high income skill that not a lot of people have in today's world. Being able to own up to a mistake when your boss calls you out on your mistake. I think is a pretty big skill to have and something that can further you in your career. So I think that's something that's changed. Perseverance would be another one. Learn how to stick through it after hitting rock bottom, which I know you've experienced it. I know you probably have. I know I have. In the sales world, you're going to hit the bottom and you're going to hit it hard. And so about being able to keep going through, probably another skill that's definitely honed in.
So from like a top looking down, all of those things are like characteristics that you've sharpened. But from a pure high income skill, like really the main one was sales, right? Like you learned how to sell people something and give you money for something, right? And they talk about 3 extremely important high income skills that you can master, right? Sales, communication, leadership, right? And we talked about portable power. If you have any of those 3 things, no matter where you go, JP, if you live in Texas, is sales going to go with you?
Oh, I'm slanging.
If you live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you're just downright dirty leader, you think it's going to go with you?
100%.
If you can master any 3 of those 3 things, it's game over. Your portable power, your walking power, like you have the ability to make a shitload of money no matter where you go, which is crazy to think about.
I mean, Grant Cardone himself, like the Undercover Billionaire show where he literally just, changed his whole identity and started $1 million company within a couple months. I mean, it just shows like how powerful having a skill can be and how you can apply it to pretty much anything in life once you have it.
It doesn't leave.
No.
Right? You are the machine. You are the money creator, which is extremely powerful.
It also I think having one of those kind of skills, like it gives you a lot of confidence and not only, sharpening the skill that you already have, but the confidence to even pursue more skills.
Skills are literally a cheat code for confidence. And Evan, you're the prime example of this. Whenever you would get on a heater and you felt like your skill was just at the peak performance, how confident were you?
Nobody could talk to me at all.
Yeah, well, you would let us know. We know that. You would let everyone know that.
I had to make sure.
But again, it's a legitimate thing that like when you're on a heater in the home, you're walking into every single one like, I'm the guy. Like, I'm going to give them the best customer experience. Like, I know that I'm going to deliver a product at a price that makes sense. And like, ultimately, I'm going to earn their business because my skill's that high right now.
And it's definitely something too. You can attain this skill but it never stops developing, or it shouldn't stop developing. I feel like that's where that learning the high income skill also adds value to your work life and career. If you stop learning, then you're just dead in the water at that point. So I definitely think that's something that needs to happen to a lot of people that try to learn the new skill, is they need to keep learning about it and not just stop when they feel a little success.
Exactly.
You zoom in and there's more skills within that one umbrella of skill. Like sales, I mean, we're all kind of sales guys. And there's, communication, there's persuasion, there's, looking people in the eye as well. Like I think sales is definitely a huge skill to have in everyday life.
Oh yeah. It's one of those 3 portable power traits. Like it's going to go with you no matter where you're at.
What do you think would be the most important trait under that umbrella of sales? Like, what do you think is a good subcategory?
Probably communication. Like I think being able to talk to anybody, like we're social creatures. So I mean, it's super important to be able to hold a good conversation, get what you want out of it, and, benefit the person you're talking to as well.
I'll tell you, not under the sales umbrella, but under those 3 portable power traits, like the one that is the most impactful for good or bad, or is really, in my opinion, leadership. Right? I was definitely one of those kids that when I was younger, I would lead in a terrible way in terms of we'd be on the playground and I'd be like, dude, let's go do this. And ultimately we'd get in trouble. Right. But I would lead them like so effectively that I would convince them to do bad shit. And then we'd get in trouble versus now, obviously, I've realized, hey, maybe we should use that leadership for something good. And ultimately we've been able to build AE, and just lead a lot of people to say, hey, like, let's get on board. Like, I think we can do something with this, and ultimately show them the way as well. So just really, for me personally, being able to redirect that leadership has been super impactful, which I think, also comes with just maturity and time as well.
You think, and I guess this is a question for both of you, like, do you guys feel like or not sales, but the skills that you have were innate, or did you have to like learn them? And then, I mean, I know developing is part of it. Do you think you were kind of born with it, or was it learned?
I don't know. I would say when I came in AE, I don't know, Parker can you agree or disagree with this, but I feel like I was pretty good at sales. Definitely a lot of things I had to learn in terms of specific details, and like I said earlier, accountability, responsibility, stuff of that nature. But definitely do feel like I was gifted with a little bit of a sales knack prematurely to this job.
I think, again, we talk about one of the characteristics under the skill. Mm-hmm. You weren't necessarily good at sales because you've never done it for a super long time, but you were great at communication, right? And you had other skills or other characteristics that would allow you to be a good sales rep. And at that point, it was just, fine tuning and working your way through that.
I think it's definitely you're born with a skill and you develop it. But what's cool is, and Naval Ravikant, he's a big philosopher of like the modern age. He talks a lot about, something that looks like work to others, but feels like play to the individual. And I mean, Dippin's a really good example of like communicating, or like me and like wanting to, serve other people, or like you in leadership. Like it's definitely, it comes second nature to us. It's a skill that you develop, but everybody has a set of skill that can be applied to a high income, revenue stream, but you have to be able to reflect on yourself and kind of notice what it is and develop it as you go.
Well, again, it's about the reflection and then the direction.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, going back to leadership, I had no direction of like how to use this. Right. And that's why I was always leading my friends, other people to the bad stuff, versus when I finally self-reflected and got the direction, now we're moving in the right direction at high speeds and at high income.
And we do all right.
We do all right. I guess, JP, you said you think everybody's born with a skill. In terms of AE, I know I've seen a lot of people come and go because they're not able to, just pull it off. Like, So what makes you think everybody's born with this skill, you know, when you've seen it firsthand, people not being able to succeed or learn a high income skill quickly?
Me and Parker kind of had this conversation with Brock on the podcast where it was like, you know, there's a difference between the skill that you have and then the value you bring as an individual. And I think there are skills that you can learn and develop, but you can't train being the kind of person that wants to learn those skills. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there's probably better talkers than all of us, but they're probably, you know, out doing drugs or something. It's being able to apply the skill where, you know, to answer your question, that separates those people that kind of do make it to those who don't.
Yeah, there's people out there that are, you know, maybe I'm a better leader, but they're better at this, that, and third, right? So I think it's just about utilizing your skill to the maximum, you know, ability you possibly can.
You know, funny, like the Bible talks about this too. It talks about like, you know, individual body parts. Mm-hmm. And it's like, just because I'm not a hand doesn't mean the eye is anything less to the body. Like they all work in harmony together. And I think like sometimes people get twisted on, and I mean, at least I did, you know, being so obsessed with the fact that, you know, you're not good at this one thing. So then you kind of ignore what you are good at. And you have to be able to see the value that you bring as an individual. And like everybody is born with a talent or a skill. And again, you just have to find it and apply it.
100%. I think, you know, moving a little bit further down the line, right? We've talked about what some of the high income skills are, right? Now let's talk about, because do you think you're ever going to get extremely wealthy just off one high income skill, Justin?
No. I mean, I think you can, but I mean, it definitely comes down to the person who you're talking to, but you never want to sell yourself short.
So, but getting the high income skill is about once you have the money coming in, right? Now we need to leverage it for wealth. Mm-hmm. Right? So skills create leverage creates wealth. So moving that down the pipeline is what you need to do, right? Don't just take the money and buy the nice cars and, you know, the nice house or whatever it may be, right? It's about taking the money, keeping it, right? Now, how do we multiply it faster than just my time? Because when you get in that straight time exchange, that's a dangerous place as well.
Well, it's because you kind of stop. Like once you start, like time is one of those things to where, you know, you can get to that point, but then if you can't leverage it, like you're just stuck right there.
The most impactful flex, and I'm going to tell everybody here on the episode, the most impactful flex is working less hard and having more impact. That's a flex, right? Versus when you're younger, and I'm sure your dad told you this and yours as well. I know mine always did, is like, you have to work as hard as you possibly can. That's over today. Like you literally have the most powerful device literally in your hands all the time. Like leverage it. Get the high income skill, leverage it, and then have wealth.
I would agree. I would also disagree at a certain point at that, saying like you still have to work very hard nowadays to do really anything to succeed. Like, you know, people come into AE and they think it's just, you know, candies and rainbows. And that way you just show up to an appointment. Oh, I'm gonna take their check. I'm gonna leave. It's not you know, you're getting up at 6 o'clock every day to drive 2 hours or whatever the case may be. You're showing up excited. You're giving energy. It's a lot of hard work, and some weeks you're out on the road, you know, 60 hours a week. So I would say, you know, at the beginning it's a lot of hard work and discipline. But once you, like we're going back to the beginning, once your skill is honed in, and now you're exchanging that for money and you move up the company, you're right. You know, it doesn't take as much work once you fine tune that skill to almost perfection to get that high income and get your time back and you move on with your life in that point.
Right, because you're moved on to the leverage stage, mm-hmm. right? You pass the skill stage, now you're moving on to the leverage stage.
Well, and it also ties back to even like what I was saying about, you know, like what feels like work to others, but play to you. Yeah. Like I'm sure like being a CEO of like AE, like it feels really cool, you know, placing people where they should be and building up a team and scaling a company, or like you talking to homeowners, like, you know, having a good conversation. Like it is one of those things to where you find the skill, like you leverage it, but like to a point, you know, I'm sure what you do doesn't feel like work to you. You know, meeting the homeowner, like selling yourself, having a good conversation, laughing with them, like that's where you do kind of separate yourself too, on like being able to understand, you know, ikigai. Have you heard of that? It's like a Chinese or Japanese theory of like what the world needs, what you're good at, and what you can make money from. And like that centerpiece is like your calling.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Yes. 100%. You know, when I started AE, you know, probably about into the first year, it was like my focus was really to make like a lot of money. I'll be honest. Like it was just to make a lot of money, you know, nothing more, nothing less. Like there wasn't much thought. You know, I was only 20 years old, so it was easy for me to just be like, hey, a lot of money, like, you know, that's the goal, right? And then I read something, you know, even earlier this year, because I'm still learning a ton of stuff every day. I'm getting better at learning more content faster, which is even more powerful as well. But it talks about creating a game that you want to play forever, right? And if you can do that, like if you can create a game that you want to play forever and that your skills, you know, relate directly to, it's game over.
I mean, nobody can, like, you created a company that you want to be in forever, or a game in term that you want to be in forever, and you're untouchable. I feel like in today's world, especially, you know, being 25 years old, already growing and getting towards that game. There's no way anybody can stop you or touch you, like with you and Sean and AE and how it's growing so fast and what we're all doing around the U.S. right now. It's just crazy to think about.
Well, just again, built a lot of pipelines of opportunities, right, is the thing that excites me the most. Like that's what I always talk about. You know, if we can create a bunch of other people that have extreme wealth, like the chances of me having extreme wealth are probably right there aligned with it as well. So again, just building more pipelines of opportunity for other people, and then eventually it'll come back to you. It always does.
So you feel like in terms of pipeline, would you say that's, you know, helping other people find that skill that we're talking about, that high income skill? Could that be something that is like in that pipeline?
Yeah, but you also need to, again, some people never get out of that pipeline, right? Some people never get out of the high income skill because, again, they get so fixated on like it just being directly tied to the exchange of their performance for their pay. Whereas like it's great, you're going to be able to make a high income, but like when do you get to the leverage point, right? And you need to eventually start thinking about how do I leverage my skills, whether that be now I'm managing people, now I'm consulting people, now I'm using it for, you know, creation of other opportunities, whatever that may be. Like that has to be at some point in time, you know. And again, it took me, you know, I worked for Jeff for 3-4 years before I eventually was like, hey, I can leverage what I found out now and what I was doing, you know, over here in AE as well. So, you know, it takes time. You know, it's not something that you're going to snap your fingers, you know, overnight. But again, you have the high income skill, so I wouldn't sweat it. You still have the ability to make a lot of money, but just, again, continue to think about, you know, at what point do we leverage this?
It definitely comes down to like consistency, right? And, you know, to kind of end it off, I think consistency looks like nothing is happening until everything changes. And every expert in something was once a beginner in it.
The last piece I leave everyone with is start right fucking now. Start literally right now. If you're watching this podcast, like you're not normal. Like the shit that we're talking about is not normal, right? Start right now. Learn sales, learn communication, learn leadership, and we'll see you on the next episode.